Adding music to your Instagram posts is a great way to make them more immersive, and if you choose the right type of music, Instagram might even boost your content. In this video, we're gonna talk all things music on Instagram. We're gonna talk about how to find trending audios, how to use trending audios, and then we're gonna talk about how to add them to your stories, reels, and to your posts. If there is a specific section of this video you're interested in, use the chapters in the timeline below or in the description box to navigate, and let's get started. A disclaimer, this video is not going to be on how to add your own music to Instagram, because that is a much lengthier process that, to be honest, I don't really understand, but I have found a video that explains it in very great detail, so I'm gonna link that down below if that is what you're after. So let's first talk about how to find music on Instagram in general. If you first go on your feed, a lot of the posts on there are going to be using music, so if you just click on the little note icon on a post, it's going to take you to the sound that it's using. If you like the audio and you want to use it later in your own content, you can click on the little save icon and use it later. The same goes for the Reels tab. If you're browsing through Reels, they also have a little music icon, except that here it's located on the bottom right corner. So if you click on the little note icon in the bottom right corner, the same kind of screen is going to come up, and again, you can save it, send it to other people, etc. And we'll talk about how to use the audio that we previously saved later. Let's now talk about trending audio for a little bit. A trending audio, by my loose definition, is an audio that a lot of people are using at the moment. You'll know if an audio is trending if it has a little slanted arrow next to it, which you'll be either able to see in feed or on the audio page itself. Why should you care about trending audio? Well, trending audio can give your content a little bit of a boost when it comes to reach. The thing is, if an audio is trending, it means that people like it, and naturally Instagram is going to push things that people like because they want to keep you in the app. So that's why using a trending audio can be a good way to get a little bit of a boost in your reach or engagement, but like I said, it does not guarantee that whatsoever. The best practice when using trending audio is to use one that has ideally less than 10,000 uses. This you're gonna find on the audios page, and that's simply because you want to be ahead of the curve before the audio takes off. If you happen to jump on the trend before it picks up, more people are bound to see your content. So how do you find trending audio? The first way is to scroll on your Instagram feed and just look for that little slanted arrow that I mentioned. But this can get a little bit time consuming and a little bit tedious. Relatively recently, Instagram released a new feature where you can easily find trending audios by going to your professional dashboard. If you can't see your professional dashboard, it's probably because your Instagram account isn't a business account. So if you want to see trending audio or the professional dashboard, just change your account to business. And you'll find the trending audio by going to professional dashboard, scrolling down to trending audio, and here you'll have a list of 50 audios that are trending at the moment. As you can see, they all have the slanted little arrow that I keep talking about, so that's how you know that it's a trending audio. And you can see how many uses each audio has as well. A little pro tip here, the numbers are not always accurate. Sometimes when you see that an audio has below 10,000 uses, when you actually click on it and reveal the audio page, you'll see that it actually has a lot more. So if you're aiming to use a trending audio with less than 10,000 uses, you should probably click on the audio page and double check that it actually is below 10,000. Obviously, it doesn't mean that once it's 10,001, it's immediately gonna be bad, but you know what I mean. And as you can see, we have the little save icon here as well, so you can save the audio to find it later. If you're managing an account where the target audience is not located in the same country as you, then you should look at the trending audios of the page in that country. For example, I live in the Czech Republic, but one of my clients is located in the US, so whenever I'm making content for them with trending audio, I go to their page, to their professional dashboard, to find trending audio that is relevant to their audience. So let's now talk about where to actually find your saved audio. The first way you can do that is when you create your post. This can be either a story, a reel, or a static post, it doesn't really matter. Let's demonstrate this on a reel, for example. So you just click on the plus button, select reel, then you select your video or your photos that you want to use in the reel, and then you'll see that on the right hand side there is the little note icon which says audio right next to it. So once you click on that, the audio tab will appear. You'll see some choices on the first page, but if there is a specific audio that you want to use, then you'll click on the save tab, and that's where you should be able to find all of the audios that you used. Sometimes it can happen that when you're trying to add audio in this way, aka through the post, it might not be there in the save tab. I don't know why this happens, but it does happen to me relatively often. So the best way to get around that, which is also another way to find your trending audios, is to go to your profile, go to the hamburger menu, click on saved, and there you should see audio. Here you should see hopefully everything, including the audio that doesn't appear in the save tab when you're trying to post a reel. What you can do from here is you click on the audio, then you click on use audio, and that way you'll be able to create your reel as normal, either by adding videos that you already created or by filming the content in the Instagram app. Let's now talk about if you wanted to add a song that is not in the Instagram music library. First things first, make sure that the music is not in the Instagram library because Instagram doesn't have the licensing for it. If it does not have the licensing for it, then chances are that when you post the audio, Instagram is actually gonna remove it, and that's gonna be a big fat bummer, especially if you have spoken word with the audio in the reel. So if it's a song by known artist, but their song is not in the Instagram music library, I would be very careful about using it and only use it if you absolutely have to and if you're willing to accept the risks. But if we're just talking about using a sound from a trending TikTok, for example, I don't know if you remember, but you know, when there was the presidential debate, Trump said something about eating the dogs, eating the cats, and it became a huge internet sensation and people were using it all over TikTok, all over Instagram.
They're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat.
We're talking about that type of a sound, which is not exactly a song. Then it is possible to add that kind of music to your Instagram, but you're first gonna have to edit your reel in a third-party app before uploading it to Instagram. Let me demonstrate this on an example real quick. So I found a trending sound on TikTok and I wanna use it in my Instagram reel. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna first download the audio. You can either download the whole video and then just separate the audio from the video, or you can just download the audio straight away, depending on the download page that you're using. What I use most often is CapCut, but other video editing platforms are gonna work just as fine. And what I do after uploading it is I just detach the audio, slap my own video on top of it, then export it and upload it to Instagram as a whole. If you're using a TikTok trend in this way by uploading the sound yourself, you can then rename the audio to make it easier for people to find by just describing what the audio says or what it does. As I mentioned earlier, if you're an artist, this technique does not really apply if you want your music to be in the proper Instagram library, like for example Sabrina Carpenter's is. That way you're gonna have to go through a distributor, and I linked a video in the description box about that, like I said. I'm out of water. Refreshing. Alright, let's now talk about how to add music to different types of Instagram posts, starting with stories. If you want to add music to your Instagram story, you just go to the plus sign, story, then you record your story or upload your story, whatever takes your fancy. Click on the notes icon and then select your song. The fun thing about music in Instagram stories is that you can jazz it up a little bit. For example, if you want someone to know what you're listening to, you can include the album art by scrolling here, or you can also include the lyrics of the song. Next, on the left, you can choose how long you want the clip to be. And if you look at the timeline, you can see the little red dots. The red dots basically indicate most used parts of the song that people are using. The way that you choose which part of the song you want in your Instagram story is just by pressing and dragging the little rectangle in the middle and then just sliding to left or right. That's adding your music to your stories done. Let's now move on to static posts and carousels. So the difference between a static post and a carousel is that a static post only has one graphic picture / element / photo. I'm grouping these two together because the process for these is exactly the same. So you just click on the photo that you want to use or the multiple photos that you want to use if you're making a carousel. Then you click on next. The first option is clicking on the notes icon in the bottom right corner and choosing your song like I showed you earlier. Or you can click on the next button again, and then on the last page you can click on add music. First off, is there a benefit to adding music to your posts, to individual single photo or single image posts? Not so much. The only way that that could be beneficial is because Instagram prioritizes content that uses their features to the max, you could say. So adding music to your static one single Instagram post could give you some benefit, but it's probably not gonna do a whole lot. But with a carousel, on the other hand, I would 100% recommend adding music to your Instagram carousel, because recently Instagram introduced sharing carousels in the Reels tab. Whereas previously you were only able to see carousels in the main feed, now you can also see them in the Reels feed. So if you're scrolling through Reels, you can now come across carousels and they just look like little swipeable pictures. And carousels only appear in the Reels tab if they have music. So that's why I recommend adding music to your carousel 100% of the time. So if you were ever wondering what the feature is for, now it makes sense to use it with carousels. And lastly, let's cover how to add music to Reels. This is probably the most complicated one, especially if you have spoken audio in the video as well. You just add your video for your reel, or you film your reel depending on what you're doing at the moment. And like I showed you before, you can either click on the audio tab on the first page, but if you click on next and go to the next page and click on the audio tab on there, you'll usually be able to choose from more audio options, and your save tab is also gonna differentiate between original audios and music. So let's say you recorded a video where you're talking about something, but you also want to include some background music. You would just add the music as you normally would, choose which section of the song you want there. You can adjust the volume of the song, or if you change your mind, you can replace the audio with a different one. And the way you find these options is either by swiping up on the video or clicking on edit video in the bottom left corner. But if you speak in your reel and you have added background music, you can now see that the music is way too loud and you can't hear anything you're saying. So the way to fix that is to again swipe up or click on edit video. If you have the audio selected, then click on the black space around the elements, then you scroll right to volume, and here you can adjust the volume of your camera audio, which is the spoken audio that you uploaded with your video, and you can also adjust the volume of the music. I usually like to keep the music at like a 2 or 3. Basically, you never want it to be louder than your voice. You want it to be just like barely audible so that it doesn't interfere with what you're saying. And that's how you add music to your reels. So I think we have covered everything related to music on Instagram in this video. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. If you want to stick around, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you here for my next video. Bye!